Okay, and we are back. Been a little bit of a break, but we leave off on our Thursday D&D game, opening up our session with everyone still in the market square. Rowan and this cloaked figure have left via gate a powerful magical spell. And the group immediately begins to split. They're all trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. Jeff runs off. He's detected his father, so he's leaving back to his area to gather up his supplies, shouting, Father was here the entire time. Athalia is able to overhear a couple women who are talking about Rowan. And she goes and she inquires and hears from the women that Rowan was in the potion maker, the herbalist shop. Mycelia goes to this area where Gate had been cast to see if she can find any traces of magic, which she does. And so she heads into the magic shop to see if there was anything that she could learn about the mushrooms there. Pickles checks for tracks in the area. However, because it's the market, he can't find anything relevant. And so he heads off to the Hunters Guild looking to pick up a crossbow. Jeff begins patching himself up, just doing a little bit of work on himself to be more presentable because he is a warforged who has been idle for quite some time. Athalia and the herbalist, she winds up talking to the herbalist who says Rowan had came in with some mushrooms that she didn't have any information on. Mycelia, meanwhile, in the magic shop, she doesn't find out anything pertaining to Rowan or the cloaked figure. Pickles, meanwhile, at the Hunters Guild, realizes he simply just does not have enough money for a crossbow, but he does overhear a couple lizard folk who are talking about Rowan and the cloaked figure, whom they had seen earlier that morning. He tries to intimidate them to get some information, but they don't really give him anything up. Everyone converges back on the street. Athalia and Mycelia talking about how the herbalist had brought in some rather unique mushrooms. Jeff has finished patching himself up and comes out to overhear their conversation, and Pickles, frustrated that he is too financially destitute to acquire a crossbow, comes back to the scene. And while they are talking, unsure of where to go from there, they get interrupted by a kobold who has overheard their banter and wants to make some money off of the information that he has. And what he can tell the group after a little bit of banter back and forth, some insults, people's tempers are flaring. The kobold, the goblin Snid, the kobold Snid, wow, why did I say goblin? He tells them that he had seen Rowan and this figure teleport into town earlier in the morning. They had then gone to Mycelia's house, and it looks like they transported inside magically, with the figure coming back out, appearing again outside the house, stuffing mushrooms into a bag, muttering how he's excited to start tests. Then they went to the herbalist shop for a little while, and after leaving the herbalist shop, then they teleported out of town. Rowan mentioned the ruins of Pickle's home as they were walking out of the herbalist shop, to which the cloaked figure responds with it had to be done and that it was time to head back to the Arcanum. The kobold Snid, he suggests that if they want more information, they should head north. There is a port city, Rabarstvo, about a few days' travel from where they're at, and if anyone would know anything about an Arcanum, it would probably be the dragons there. And then he takes the little bit of money that he's extorted from the group and then runs off. Pickles, at this point, reveals his whispering book and asks it where they should go, which the book audibly responds, Rabarstvo. They need to go north. The group stocks up on supplies for the 2-day trip, and they take off northward at around noon. At about 3 o'clock, after a few hours on the road, the group hears Bullywugs, "Bop, bop," and the Bullywugs are really close to the road. That's where that session ends, and then we picked back up 2 weeks later, this Thursday. As they hear the Bullywugs approaching, Mycelia flies up and attempts to hide in a tree. The player rolled really low, and so they're doing the whole "I'm hiding," but their body is sticking out. It's like they're holding a twig in front of them. Hilarious. Pickles, he casts Speak with Animals. He and I had talked during the break, and he wanted to know if Speak with Animals would work with Bullywugs. And I said, yeah, sure, I like this. Let's go. And while he does that, Jeff and Athalia, they ready their weapons. They both make history checks, and what they know about Bullywugs is that they live deep in the swamp, and they rarely travel out this far, especially so close to the road. And as they finish up their preparations, one of these Bullywugs, these frog folk, hop out of this dense swampland. Pickles begins to talk to the Bullywugs. They constantly refer to him as food. You are food. We have found good food. We will be the most goodest party to get food. And these Bullywugs demand that the group comes with them. Pickles offers rations, and they seem interested in this food, but Pickles is trying to coerce them into following him and recruiting them with a promise of more food. But the Bullywugs, while they're interested in the food, they want more food, but they want it now, because they want all of this food so they can take it back for their god. And as they're talking, slowly more and more Bullywugs of this scouting party are hopping out of the swamp, and they're getting very excited about the amount of food that they have found. Finally, the leader of the group, a Bullywug druid, arrives, and seeing these 3 individuals who they have been, who as far as they're concerned, they're edible. This is what they've been out hunting for. He casts Entangle, and that sparks combat. Pickles goes down very quickly. He gets hit with a critical, and although the players are able to kill 4 of the Bullywugs, as Pickles goes down, Mycelia attempts to intervene, and she gets surrounded and brought down as well. The Bullywug Druid, using fog and the dense swamp as cover, the Druid and 2 other Bullywugs escape, leaping through the swamp with Pickles and Mycelia in tow. Athalia and Jeff attempt to follow the Bullywugs and catch up and regain their fallen comrades, but they simply can't keep up through this environment. They are, however, able to find a trail of broken branches that the Bullywugs have left, and they're able to track them this method through this horrible swamp. They go for about another 4 or 5 hours, and then they set down for a long rest. The next day, Mycelia and Pickles, they wake up in a Bullywug camp. They have not got a long rest. They have been out unconscious. They both have a little bit of HP. They're both up. And Pickles quickly recasts Speak with Animals to overhear the Bullywug Druid talking about taking the food to someone named Platt. They try to escape because they're in these wooden cages. The Mycelia, she polymorphs into a snake, and Mycelia and Pickles attempt to taunt the Bullywugs, the 3 remaining Bullywugs, into a position where they can ambush them from the cages and then get out. However, they're quickly knocked out. Meanwhile, Athalia and Jeff, they are continuing through the swamp. After a few hours of travel, they come upon the Bullywug camp, but it's empty. And they, with a very good investigation check, notice that the trail of broken branches continues eastward. They continue following the trail, which, and I did not inform them of this, but it was very good that they followed the trail. There's a lot of dangerous things in the swamp. The Bullywugs know this, and they know which ways to go. So as they continue following this trail, the whole day passes. No issues, no encounters. And as evening is beginning to set, they finally come to a clearing in this dense, just thick, soupy swamp. And they come to this massive circular embankment in the swamp. Like someone just took a stamp and just hit the ground and sunk it down 60 feet. So they're standing at the edge of this 60-foot cliff, which has streams of water pouring from the swamp into this indentation down below. At the base of the cliff, there is a giant moat filling full of water. And inside of that area is this large island upon which rests a ziggurat. They can see that there are Bullywugs at the bottom of the cliff inside the moat who are climbing out of the water onto the island. And from this distance, they can make out Pickles and Mycelia. These Bullywugs are headed towards the ziggurat. With the sun setting behind them, they begin to investigate the cliff. Is there stairs? How are these Bullywugs getting down? Because they're only assuming that the Bullywugs are jumping off the cliff. At this point, another group of Bullywugs emerges from the swamp, not too far from where they're investigating, and making a mad dash to hide, Jeff, who is playing a Warforged artificer, rolls poorly on his stealth check. And although the Bullywugs most of them have gone over the edge with their quarry, which is a large snake, one of them hears Jeff dive for the bushes, and he goes to investigate. Athalia and Jeff get the jump on him, and they are able to execute him rather quickly. So, no witnesses, no survivors. And that is where we end that session. I'm really looking forward to this coming Thursday to see what the players decide to do. I was not intending for the negotiation to go so well, and once combat started and Pickles went down, I knew this was going to be an amazing opportunity to show off the Bullywugs and what I have been building for them. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Have a great day. Is it Thursday yet? Nah, I can't say that. It'll be fun though when we get there.